Hey guys, g'day. It's Jonathan Trinity Martin here from Starseed Training World. So, Ellie Kagan, Sergey the Cat from Instagram contacted me about collaborating on a video about my extraterrestrial contact experiences. And so here I am. So, I'm Jonathan Trinity Martin. If you recognize me, you might have seen me on Vice. Like, I'm number 1 ranked or number 2 ranked in all the major search engines for man who talks to aliens or guy who talks to aliens due to my interview with Vice that went viral, about 4 million views, 3-4 million views on Facebook and 250,000 on YouTube, where I channeled the Yahyel for Vice in London and caused a lot of chaos. And so yeah, Ellie Kagan contacted me, Sergey the Cat. So I guess a lot of you viewing this channel are going to be Sergey followers. So check me out at trinity.love website, starseedtraining.world website, Jonathan Trinity Martin on Facebook, and Jonathan Trinity Martin on YouTube. So thanks, Sergey, for getting me on. I love your questions. I'm really excited to get on with this because I think they're great questions. So Sergey has requested that I don't use spiritual terminology. So no words like synchronicity or karma or unity consciousness or oneness or self-realization or starseed or wanderer. I'm not allowed to use any of these terms because I am talking to a community who's more spiritually or scientifically oriented. And I believe. And it's interesting, Sergey, that you are a cats guy, because I'm actually in contact with extraterrestrials from Lyra, which is a cat civilization. But that's another story. We're going a bit deep here. So start at the beginning. So yeah, I'm an extraterrestrial experiencer and spiritual teacher. And since I had an extraterrestrial contact experience in 2009 with an extraterrestrial civilization called the Yahyel, I've been in telepathic communication with them. And I now communicate with them telepathically to relay messages about the nature of reality and how we can improve our world to humans, to you guys. So these are the questions. Let's crack on. So thank you, Sergey, for these questions. So, number 1. I understand the Yahyel are a very friendly human species. Is there a reason the Yahyel are not stopping problematic events as were in World War II, World War I and II, and in the Black Death and Plague that killed half of Europe? So what the Yahyel teach us about that, the Yahyel are the extraterrestrials I'm in contact with, they teach us that life is like they actually call it like a master class, like Earth is like a master class. So we come here to evolve spiritually. So I know I'm not supposed to talk about spiritual words, but the nature of reality is that we are a soul. You know, you've all heard the idea of a soul, the idea that we are like this higher conscious entity that exists outside of this world, and like this physical reality is just a smaller version of us that we experience for a short time. So the idea is that Earth is a master class. We come here as, like a lot of us, highly evolved spiritual beings. We're looking to learn the lessons of this reality. So this experience we're going through as humans at the minute on this Earth is a experience of where we get the opportunity to experience high contrast, high darkness, high control, you know, warring, manipulation, greed, you know, everything negative that's going on this planet. But we also get to experience the opposite. You know, there's very enlightened spiritual teachers, there's very loving people, there's some very heart-opened women, particularly on this planet. And so we come to Earth to experience the polarity. We kind of come into this reality where we experience disconnection from our true nature, from our true connection to God and Source and love and light. Sorry, I'm trying not to use spiritual terms, it's a bit tricky. So our true nature is like the quantum field. It's like the ether, like I'm going off on a tangent. I'm coming back, right. So to stick to the question, it's kind of like hands off the natives, because the ETs see that we're evolving. They see that as souls, as a non-physical consciousness, we chose to project our non-physical consciousness, our infinite self, our multidimensional infinite self, our pure, our quantum essence self. Superposition is, if you're into science, superposition, like in the quantum field and the wave and the particle theory, like who we are truly is the wave, and when we manifest in reality we're a particle. So just speaking to you quantum physics guys, because Ellie asked me to speak to science. So Yeah, so where was I? So basically, yeah, we're evolving here. The ETs know that we chose as pure consciousness to incarnate into a physical body, and we actually chose to experience suffering. Like, as an example for myself, I chose to experience women rejecting me over and over again so I could learn the lessons of unconditional love and not neediness and all this rubbish that's involved in relationships. And I suffered a lot, but I'm so grateful for that suffering because now it's shown me how I can experience unconditional love in a relationship and experience a true relationship, a real relationship without all the human chaos. So this is what we come to Earth for. We come to Earth to learn at an accelerated rate. And we come here for the catalyst, which is the challenge. We come here to experience the illusion, the misunderstanding that we're disconnected from source, that we're infinite consciousness, that we are God, because we all are God. The quantum field, the wave of quantum physics and superposition is like pure consciousness and our pure self before we manifest in this form. And we choose to come into a reality where we forget that we're pure, infinite love, light, bliss consciousness. Sorry, spiritual words. And we choose to forget that we're connecting. We choose to forget that we create our own reality through our thoughts and our consciousness, but that's a whole nother topic. And we choose to forget that we are love, light, bliss, and we choose to forget that love is our natural nature. And we choose to come into this world where our parents shout at us and abuse us, and our society tells us that we should do this and this and this, and we should vote, and we should agree with wars, and we should be children seen and not heard, and all this nonsense that we're taught by society that is not beneficial for the planet, is not beneficial for us. And we come into this illusory reality where we believe we're supposed to live in fear and competition and kill each other and war, and that's just normal, and like that's how life is, as we were told when we were growing up. Oh, life will never be better. That's just how life is. Humans kill each other. So we get taught all this nonsense from our parents and our schools as children, and then, but from this we go into such suffering. It creates suffering in us, and this is the catalyst to break free. And something within us, in our soul, in our heart, in our higher consciousness, in our true self, begins to sense that there's something wrong with the reality, begins to sense that there's something wrong with Earth, with the wars, with World War I, with World War II. We chose to experience those so we could experience all the hell possible. We basically came to Earth to experience limitation in every way limitation could be experienced. So we actually came to Earth to experience the darkness, to experience war, greed, Hitler, 9/11. We came here to experience this so we could see it happening and we could choose. We get to make a choice for myself. Do I want that? Do I want war? Do I want to see families suffering? Do I want this? Or do I want to come from love? Do I want to co-create? Do I want to nurture? Do I want to grow? Do I want to connect to my soul and love everyone so unconditionally and create in a new way? And this is the lesson. See, people on Earth still believe that you can actually improve your reality through war. Like, people on Earth still believe you can actually improve your reality through greed and selfishness and shouting at your children when you're angry. There's a place for shouting at children, but 99% of humans shouting at their children is fucking disgusting. And, oh shit, I swore. Apologies. Beep. And so, yeah, so we came here to learn, and that's why the ETs didn't do anything about World War I. That's why the ETs didn't do anything about World War II. And that's also why the ETs aren't forcing themselves on us. They're not hacking into their TV stations and saying, look, here we are, here's our technology, look, we can prove we've got the technology that's light years ahead of yours, which they could do easily, because it's kind of hands-off. They understand we're evolving souls. They understand we came here to experience the darkness so we could learn the lessons of this dimension, which is unconditional love. We have to learn unconditional love for Hitler, for our father that abused us, for George Bush, icons that represent war and destruction and chaos and hatred. And so we need to learn unconditional love. And we came here to go through World War I and World War II and plague so we could learn to experience the unconditional love of our true nature, our true self, the quantum field, the wave function of quantum physics, which is perhaps God, Creator, the Divine Feminine, the Holy Spirit, the Mary Magdalene. Oops, I'm using spiritual words, sorry. And yes, so this is why the ETs have always been hands-off, because it's our dimension. One thing Bashar always said, who is connected to the Yahyel, you might want to type in Bashar in the Google search, B-A-S-H-A-R, he's a lock of wisdom on this. He said that although we have a hands-off policy, your nuclear weapons actually interfere with our dimensions, and we don't want to see you destroy your planet, because that would be pointless, because then you couldn't learn the lessons. It's like, they are allowed to interfere to a certain degree. They said if there was one nuclear attack in a small isolated area, they might let it occur because it'd be so horrific that it would never happen again. Humans would say, no, we're not taking this. We're not standing for you crazy governments anymore. Like, too horrific, and we wouldn't stand for it. So they said they might let a small isolated nuclear incident occur so we could learn the lessons that nuclear weapons aren't the way forward. Unconditional love and co-creation, and we create our reality through love, is the way forward. This is their lesson, but that's another topic. And so if you look into ufology folklore, like almost every nuclear weapons silo has been shut down at some point by a UFO. Like the UFOs has appeared, like this is everywhere. If you look at Richard Dolan, Stephen Bassett, Dr. Greer, these people that talk about nuts and bolts ufology, you'll see that there's a lot of evidence that proves that ETs have hovered over virtually every nuclear missile silo and shut them down, just switch them off like that, to prove that they're not going to get involved. And there's a great story about there's this missile testing silo where they're recording it on this high-tech recording image, and they can't see it while they're recording it. They just see like this nuclear missile go through its three stages. It's a test missile. It's a test nuclear missile. It goes through its three stages. But what happens in the video? This ET craft comes in, like neutralizes it with a laser beam and shoots off. And this was all caught on video, and the military have got this. So it's like the ETs are saying, the nukes are too far. You're destroying your own planet, so you can't evolve, and your nuclear weapons interfere with other dimensions of reality and other civilizations and other entities, so we won't tolerate this. But otherwise, apart from that, it's hands off the natives, let them evolve, let them learn that warring and greed and selfishness isn't the way forward. We've got to learn this ourselves, that love, pure love and unconditional love and compassion is the way forward. And the darkness shows us this, because the darkness shows us that the darkness only creates darkness and the light only creates light. So, are Yahyel participating in the alien hybridization project? Which alien species are running the alien hybridization project? What is the purpose of the alien hybridization project? Have Yahyel intervened with the human DNA development on Earth? Have the humans on Earth developed by themselves by evolution, or did aliens interfere in their development by DNA alterations? If so, for how long have there been an intervention? Millions of years, thousands of years? Great question. So the Yahyel are actually a result of the hybridization program. So what the hybridization program that Ellie Kagan, Sergei the Cat, is talking about here is you may have heard about the alien abduction phenomena. Great researchers like Bud Hopkins, John Mack, these ideas sort of through the 80s, 90s and that, they were deeply into the alien abduction phenomenon, because the alien abduction phenomenon is very real. Literally millions of people have been abducted by extraterrestrials, and there's loads of stories out there if you look into this. And so what's going on, in my understanding, in the extraterrestrial hybridization program is that there is a species of extraterrestrials often known as the Zeta Greys. These are classic ETs, classic cartoon ETs, big grey heads, big black eyes. This is where that image came from. They're a real extraterrestrial species. Although, as I understand it, they're not actually an extraterrestrial species. They are actually from a parallel version of Earth that went down a very different timeline to us. They exist in a parallel reality, and they are actually humans. But their civilization was very telepathic. It was very technologically evolved. But they came as obsessed with technology and evolution, and they lost their connection to their heart and compassion. And due to this, they began to mutate, and they were unable to reproduce. And their planet was dying because they had no love for their planet, because they lost it. They went too down the masculine path, spiritual word. They went too down the calculative path of science without the love of creation to nurture and grow. And so what happened, they couldn't reproduce. And as a civilization, they panicked. We can't reproduce. We need to prolong our civilization. So what they did with their high technology, they learned to tunnel through to different parallel realities in search of a species that they could use the DNA from, or interbreed with, or crossbreed with, to produce a new hybrid species and prolong their progeny, their DNA, their civilization. And so what happened was they found us. They eventually managed to tunnel through to our parallel reality. They found that we were viable DNA for them, because we were kind of the opposite of them. We still had love, we still had compassion, even though it was a bit messed up. We had we were kind of like the opposite then. We could still reproduce. We were very healthy reproductively. And so they saw us as viable DNA for their reproduction program. And one of the first stories of the alien abduction scenario is Barney and Betty Hill, where like their car stopped and the grey ETs literally came down, like wrestled them into the ship, took them up on the ship, had sex with them. I think Betty had sex with her. And the stories of like them coming back like 6 months later, 7 months later, taking the woman, extracting the fetus or the growing baby from the womb, very traumatic for the woman, and taking it on the ship and then continuing to like grow it in like chambers and stuff. And so this is what's going on with the hybridization program. And so the Yahyel, who I speak to, are actually the progeny of this hybridization program from the future. They're from about 1,000 years in the future, 7 to 1,300 years in the future. And they've actually come back to our timeline from the future to tell us about the nature of reality and stop us from destroying our planet like the Zeta Greys did. So let's look. So are Yahyel participating in the alien hybridization project? So the Yahyel are the results of the hybridization project from the future. And they do sort of help out, because they do help with like introducing women to their hybrid childs and creating with family and bringing the family unit back together. So which alien species are running the alien hybridization project? The Zeta Greys. What is the purpose of the alien hybridization project? I think I explained that. Have Yahyel intervened with the human DNA development on Earth? No, I don't think so, not the Yahyel specifically. Have the humans on Earth developed by themselves? Have the humans on Earth developed by themselves, by evolution, or did aliens intervene in their development by DNA alterations? Great question. So, as I understand it, there's this story, and this is iterated in like the tablets of Sumeria. It's something like the Anunnaki, and these kind of old tablets, the Sumerian cuneiforms, the story of the origins of humanity. And a guy called Graham Hancock from England also talks some great stuff about this, about the true origins of humanity. So the story goes that there's this civilization called the Anunnaki. And if you heard about all that Planet X stuff, conspiracy theories, that was the Anunnaki coming back. And I do believe it's existing, but perhaps not in the physical dimension as we understand it. So thousands of years ago, I'm not actually sure the timeline. I think we're looking, 4, 6, 8,000 years, something like this. This story goes, and this is written in the history of humanity, that in the Sumerian cuneiforms and in other texts, I believe, that this, and it's connected to the Bible, this idea of the fallen angels and the Nephilim. It's very complicated. I haven't pieced it all together yet. But so what happened thousands of years ago, say is it 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, this civilization called the Anunnaki, which are like eagle beings. You often see them represented in like Sumerian cuneiform and tablets as eagle beings, or sometimes bearded men that look a lot like gods. And perhaps this is where it came from. They wanted to control us, so they said, we are God. And so the Anunnaki came to Earth. And the reason they came to Earth is because they needed our gold. They needed to harvest our gold so they could produce something called monatomic gold. And I believe modern science understands the magical properties that monatomic gold contains. And I'm encouraged by the ETs to explore monatomic gold and its potential benefits for the transformation of Earth, the unpolluting our skies, unpolluting our seas, unpolluting ourselves. Apparently monatomic gold has the possibility to do this. And so the Anunnaki came to Earth to mine monatomic gold. And they were mining it for several years. So to take it back to their home planet, I think they needed to purify their own skies or something, unpollute their own world. And so they were desperate for this monatomic gold. But after harvesting this monatomic gold for several hundred years, they realized it was exhausting. They were having to do something with the seas as well. I don't know what they're doing. They were having to drain the rivers for some reason. It was just too much work for them. They were exhausted. And like, we're exhausted. We've had enough of this work. Can we create a slave race to do it for us? And they were like, yeah, why not? So the story goes that the two top guys, they were brothers in the Anunnaki. They were called Enlil and Enki. And they sort of, they fell out eventually. One turned to the light and one turned to the dark in a way. And so Enki was the master geneticist, I believe. And so Enki gathered DNA from all around the galaxy, from the Anunnaki, from different extraterrestrial civilizations, from the human hominids, from our ape ancestors, and hybridized it all together to produce this new civilization, which is humanity, which has evolved into humanity as we know it today. And the purpose of this, they wanted to produce a worker species that was disconnected from spirit, that forgot its connection to source, to spirit, to God, to oneness, to the wave function, to the quantum field. they wanted a species that forgot that, because when you're connected to the quantum fields, you're like free, because you know you're infinite and you can follow your heart's calling. You can trust your reality to support you. But that's another story. But so you can't be manipulated if you're connected to God, because you know your infinite consciousness and love, light, bliss, and nothing can touch you ever, and you create your own reality. So the Anunnaki did not want the slave race to know that they were connected to God. So they cut off what's called the pineal gland. There's a gland right in the center of the brain called the pineal gland, which is known in spirituality and is depicted in ancient Egypt hieroglyphics in the way of Ra, the Eye of Ra. It is actually a cross-section of the pineal gland when the brain is sliced in half. And this creates a substance called dimethyltryptamine and serotonin and these sort of things. I'm not a scientist. Which you can smoke DMT. Some of you probably know it's like you can, but it's the spirit molecule. It's what connects us to spirit, to source. So you can cheat and like inject DMT. Apparently, I'm told. I wouldn't recommend that. And so I wouldn't recommend smoking it either. You know, you can't do drugs; it's illegal. So, but you can do it. They do synthesize it, but you don't need to, because you can meditate and activate this yourself by focusing on this area. And but the idea was that this pineal gland is symbolized by the pine cone, because it looks a bit like a pine cone. And so there's images of these Sumerians the Anunnaki in like these Sumerian and Assyrian like images of the Anunnaki, of like the eagle beings holding a pine cone. And what this symbolizes is that they're holding the access point to the spiritual world of the humans. They have control of the pineal gland. They have control of the humans' access to the spirit, and they're blocking it, so we forget who we are and we can be enslaved to mine the gold for them. And yes, so this is how the humans were genetic manipulated, and this is why we made that huge evolution that modern science and biology doesn't understand, you know, from the apes to what we are today. So, if so, how long have there been intervention for? Millions of years, thousands of years? So it's certainly thousands of years, but as I understand it, I think there's been DNA intervention with this planet for millions of years. This planet is a very special planet. Earth is a very special planet. It's where highly evolved souls and many different levels of consciousness come to experience highly accelerated spiritual evolution. So if you're going through a very tough time at the minute, it's because you're being forced through this spiritual evolution. And you probably have connections to the ETs and maybe Lyra and his cute cat beings, and Ellie Kagan's cute cat, which must be from Lyra. I think Sergei's a messenger from Lyra, from the cat beings from Lyra. So, are Yahyel in contact with government officials? Have aliens took over key power positions in Earth's government structures and are dictating the world governments a policy about keeping the alien phenomena secret? If not, why do all world governments keep aliens a secret? Have the aliens started interfering with Earth more since the atomic nuclear test and bombs era? So are Yahyel in contact with government officials? I don't know, is the straight up answer. In my experience, they don't have much tolerance for government officials. They don't seem to like them. Basically, they see them as greedy, selfish, just money-oriented individuals, that, as I understand it, the Yahyel. But that said, I'm sure there are entities within government that the Yahyel are in contact with. I'm sure there is. It resonates to say that. It feels right to me. That's sort of the psychic thing in me, the telepathy. So short answer, I don't know. Short answer, the Yahyel don't seem to like our governments much. They don't seem to like selfish, greedy people. So probably, but I don't know. Have aliens took over key power positions in Earth's government structures and are dictating the world governments a policy about keeping alien phenomena secret? I think so, yes. As I understand it, like for many thousands of years, like other consciousnesses have been trying to influence our reality. So if you understand reality, look at the Christian story, God, the devil, demons, it's all true. You know, all religions, I think they call it the jinn in like Islam. You know, you have all these images in Buddhism, Hinduism, of these crazy guys with the big eyes going, the big horns, they're representing demons. So demons are very real as angels and as real as love light extraterrestrials. So it goes up the hierarchy both ways. You can actually be an evil person and, like, you know, war and feed and greed, and you can evolve in consciousness through the dark path and become an evil person, you know, through like killing people and feeding off their fear and feeding off greed and like imprisoning them through money and stuff. which is the large way the darkness works on this planet. And so, yeah, so I believe that our extraterrestrial civilizations, as I understand it from the Orion system, and I actually have a soul aspect of myself in the dark Orion system, which is a very interesting theory. The idea as a soul, we take on aspects of ourselves on the dark path. Because ultimately, in reality, the darkness is just as valid as the light. The light couldn't exist without the darkness. So from the point of God and creation, we need the darkness to survive. We should love the darkness. It's part of creation. I know this is hard to get your head around as a human, but the darkness creates the light and the light creates the dark. We couldn't exist without each other. So yeah, as I understand it, that our extraterrestrial civilizations from like places like Orion, who what they do is they sort of loiter around Earth and they look for like selfish, greedy individuals who want money for themselves and want lots of women for themselves to feed their lust and all this horrible stuff that goes on Earth. And they'll start like influencing them subtly, They'll start like like demons and like non-physical demons and these things. They'll just like subtly influence your thoughts. They'll come in if this guy's wanting to start, starting to get greedy. They'll put a bit of influence, whisper in his ear and like guide you like that. And of course, on a higher level, when you get into like satanic ritual and this sort of thing, which I don't like to talk about, but it does go on. And like where people do try and invoke like demons and negative extraterrestrial entities. I do believe that negative extraterrestrials have been influencing this planet for a long time. It's probably part of the reason why you never hear anything about spirituality or enlightenment or love light or the new age in the media. Why don't they talk about this new love light reality that's birthing in the mainstream media? Because it's being influenced from somewhere, and I do believe at a high level that are negative ETs influencing it. But we have nothing to fear because that's been there for thousands of years. We've been through the darkest days. We're coming out of that now. The positive love light ones are coming in as we wake up to our own love light and invite them in. So it's nothing to worry about because we've already been through the darkest era. We're coming out of that now. They're losing their power, basically, as everyone sees, what's going on in the world. So have the aliens started interfering with Earth more since the atomic nuclear test and bombs it? Yeah, I spoke about that. So far, in addition to Yahyel, what are the alien species you are aware are in contact with Earth as? The grey aliens, reptilians, insectoids? What star systems is it from? What is its agenda? How does the species look like? For how long have they been visiting Earth? So the main extraterrestrial civilizations I know about. So might as well talk about the Lyrans first. So there's a star system I believe called Lyra. I hope I haven't got that confused. But they're commonly known as Lyrans, and they're cat beings. So if you go to the British Museum in London, there's a great example of this, and you can actually see a video of this. You go to my Facebook page, Jonathan Trinity Martin. I put up a video of the Lyrans in the British Museum. It's the cat beings. It's Sekhmet. Possibly Bastet as well. I know I'm fairly certain Sekhmet is a Lyran through my telepathic communication. I'm in communication with Sekhmet at the minute, actually. I do believe this is why Sergei the cat has come to me, because the cat is the cat consciousness. Yeah, so from Lyra, we've got the cat beings. In Sirius, the Sirius system, the Sirius trinary star system, and incidentally, some like indigenous cultures that were in contact with the Sirians have been saying that Sirius is a trinary star system. Sirius A, Sirius B, Sirius C. But they were saying this like thousands of years ago. It's like only like recently, scientists have discovered that like Sirius has a third star, Sirius C. Yeah, and on Sirius there are amphibious beings. I believe I personally have a strong connection to amphibious beings. I love the water, I love the sea, I love dolphins. And there's also cat beings on Sirius. The Nomo, I guess the Nomo are these amphibious beings. I guess I might be a Nomo. You look at the Dogon and the Dogon tribe from Africa and the story about the Nomo. There's also the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are very loving consciousnesses. The Pleiadians, do you sense how their consciousness is coming through me telepathically as I'm speaking? So the Pleiadians are very loving, they're very nurturing, they're all about love, compassion, unity, consciousness. And I believe the Pleiadians will be the first extraterrestrial civilization to make open contact with Earth, because they look a lot like Earth humans, except perhaps a little bit more beautiful. They're extremely beautiful. And they're very much about love, compassion, nurturing, which is what Earth needs at the minute. So I believe the Pleiadians will be first to make contact. You've also got the Arcturans, which are as I see them, some people see them as a very mothering consciousness. I see them as very calculating, very wise, sort of like analysing everything that's going on to make the perfect decision. The Sasani, who are another hybrid species, Zeta Grey Earth-human hybrid species, similar to the Yahyel. There's about 5 or 6 other hybrid species. There's one called the Pleiel. The Andromedans are quite common. You got the blue avians, made famous by Corey Goods. You've got these, I guess, are the main ones. The story goes on. So what were the other questions? Yeah, and all the species I've just talked about, these are the love light species. These are the ones that are here to assist humanity. So when you reach a certain level of spiritual evolution, and like life is a spiritual path, we're all on this spiritual evolution, you realize that we're all one. We're all the same consciousness. We're not separate. There is only one being in creation, and that's us. We are the same consciousness. We are the same one entity, dancing with each other in ourself. And what was I talking about? Sorry, I got lost. Yeah, and when you reach a certain level of, when you reach this understanding, you see that you are the same entity. A natural understanding to serve each other, to be of service, to serve yourself. You see that everyone is yourself, and you see that the fastest way to evolve as a whole is to serve yourself. You understand that you are the whole, and you understand to evolve as the whole, service to yourself, helping other people through selfless service, through compassion and love is really the only way to move forward. It's the only fulfilling way to move forward. You know, selfishness, greed, lust, anger, you know, this doesn't fulfill us anymore if it ever did. The only way we become filled is through pure unconditional love and just showering everyone with love. How can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help you? I love you. I love you. I love you. And this is the most fulfilling way to live our lives. It's so just because the love just flows through us, and we're in a constant state of bliss and love. And so the ETs know this well. So the ETs have now devoted, the love light path ones, the good guys, have all devoted their lives to service. It's all they do. You know, there's nothing left to do. When you survive as a civilization and you've got to that level, you know, they only want to serve because they love us so much. They love creation so much. They love themselves so much. They love reality so much. So all these ETs I've just spoke to, they're just here to serve humans. They see we're in this deluded reality where we're suffering, we're warring, we've forgot who we are, we've forgot how to save our planet, we've forgot how to create our world. They see us suffering, and they're coming here to share this message with us. But they can't interfere. They've got to respect the law of free will, our law of free will, to evolve at our own rate. Because if they came in and forced it upon us, we wouldn't learn anything. We'd just have to go back and do it again because we wouldn't learn the lessons necessary. Yeah, so they're all here to help us evolve to the realization that we are pure love. Our nature is pure love. Love is the nature of reality. I know it sounds cheesy, you hear it in New Age circles, but love is like the building blocks of creation. And like when we connect into the love building blocks of creation, like life just flowers around us. It's so beautiful. And this is what the ETs are here to show us, you know, remind us that the way forward is love and compassion and co-creation and working together. And not like this negative agenda that's been forced upon us through the Orion system, down through our governments and our corporations and our banking system, that we're supposed to fight each other and sit in our homes on our own and compete, and whoever's got the most money is the best and whoever's got the least money is the worst, and don't be involved with poor people and have nothing to do with the homeless because they're useless pieces of... You get the idea. We're coming out of that horrible world at last. People are starting to see the light. So, where are we at? Where are we at? Yeah, so yeah, I think I've described what they look like a bit. So, for how long have they been visiting Earth? As I understand, like most of these civilizations have been visiting Earth for like millennia. You know what I mean? They've been observing us for many hundreds of thousands of years. We're fascinating. We're like where it's happening in the universe. There's really nowhere, or very few places in creation where such darkness and such light coexist in one sphere of consciousness. So that's why we're so interesting to the rest of the world, the rest of the universe, the multiverse. Is there an estimate when Yahyel will make public landing in a spaceship at a public place for the world to see? Is there an estimate of time for alien disclosure by world governments? What the future holds for the human race? Yeah, there's a lot of estimates. I don't know. I don't like to tune in too much because I believe we create our own reality. We can literally choose which quantum reality, which particle function we shift to out of the wave of the quantum field of infinite potential. So I don't like to focus on it too much. But Well, I did point to 2036 myself. This is a very realistic timeline because I believe it takes it's going to take some time for humans to catch up. It's a very challenging mental, emotional, spiritual process becoming ready for contact. Incidentally, I had a load of sightings around here. This is why I'm out here. 2 massive Yahyel ship, big orange orbs going over there in March. A week after I did a live interview for Irish Radio on the Niall Boylan show. And where are we? Yeah, so possibly even earlier, possibly around 2027, something like this. And then some people are even pointing like 3 years. They said like the humans have had it, we've had enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, so where are we? Is there an estimate of time for alien disclosure by world governments? I think it's going to. They're already starting to disclose. Disclosure has begun. You know, if you look at the Tic Tac UFO, the CIA announcing, or the Navy announcing the ATIP program, the Advanced Aerial Threat Identification program, admitting they're monitoring the extraterrestrial phenomenon, admitting that they think it's probably extraterrestrial. They haven't done this through the government yet, but they're filtering it out like on the internet. The CIA and the Navy have admitted that they believe extraterrestrials exist, in my opinion, live. Look into the Tic Tac UFO and all the stuff that's come out around that. So disclosure is happening. It's already beginning. It is out there. It's just they don't want to shock the humans, so they're putting it out on YouTube. But the CIA have officially admitted that they are monitoring or the Navy. It might be the Navy. This ATIP program, you know, they used to pretend they weren't even monitoring it, but they now admitted they are, and they now admitted that they do believe it is probably extraterrestrial. But of course they know more than that. They know it's extraterrestrial because there's beings in their agencies that have met the extraterrestrials. But they don't want to shock humanity. This is why they're leaking it out. So, is there a scientific physical experiment that can be done to prove the existence of the Yahyel to the general skeptical public? Like placing an object inside a carton box and using channeling for asking Yahyel what is the object and telling the skeptics about the object without looking in the box, then revealing the object in the box. I mean, we can do things like that, but of course that doesn't prove that the Yahyel have told us. That just proves that we might be psychic. Or yes and no. I would say more no, because our beliefs create our reality, and we're on this thing that we create our own reality, and the ETs have to respect our free will. So, and like if we don't believe ETs exist, we literally. So basically, this idea of superposition and the wave function of quantum mechanics, and the idea that when we focus on a reality, the wave function collapses into a particle, and that reality manifests out of the wave of infinite potential of the quantum field of creation. This is how we create our reality. Whatever we focus upon, literally, we are like infinite consciousness. We are the quantum field. We are the wave function of quantum mechanics. Everything exists within us. Every man, every woman, every house, every planet, every star. It all exists within us. We are one. We are one consciousness. This is us. And this is us as the waveform in our true self. But we have collapsed ourselves down into the particle function in this physical reality so we can experience a physical reality. And I've got lost. What am I talking about? Yeah, and the thing is, we create our own reality. So if you don't believe that extraterrestrials don't exist, they don't for you, you'll never see one. It's highly unlikely you'll see one unless you've got some sort of soul contract or something. Because your beliefs create your reality, literally. This is how quantum mechanics works. Quantum mechanics is beginning to understand this. The wave of infinite potential collapses into a particle when you believe it's true. When I believe that camera is pointing at me, I manifest that, and it becomes true. So if you believe extraterrestrials don't exist, they don't exist in your reality. So we really can't do these scientific experiments, because the old saying of seeing is believing is completely wrong. Believing is seeing, because we create our own reality through the quantum field and through focused attention of consciousness. So I think that's it, guys. I think we've come to the end of the questions. So thanks, Sergey the Cat from Lyra. Thanks to your Lyran counterparts for pushing us this way. Thanks to Ellie Kagan. I love your cute channel, by the way. It's amazing. It's got to be the cutest channel I've ever seen on Instagram. And thanks for seeing me, guys. So check me out on www.trinity.love, www.starseedtraining.world, Jonathan Trinity Martin, and on YouTube and Facebook. So it's been great doing this video, guys. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you got to the bottom of the questions. I do private channeling sessions, if you know what channeling is. I receive telepathic communications from the ETs and share the information with humans for a fee. That's what I do for work. That's how I create my income. So check me out at trinity.love or Starseed Training World. Sign up for the Starseed Training Program. And I hope to see you all in another dimension at some time. Have a great day, guys. I've really enjoyed this video. So thank you, Sergey the Cat. Thank you, Ellie Kagan. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, God. Thank you, ETs. Thank you, life. Have a great day, guys. Bye.